be talking about utilizing virtual manipulatives to assist students with autism spectrum disorder, and my name is Jaden Tonneson. The identification of virtual manipulatives. What are they? What are virtual manipulatives? Well, this is a technological tool that provides the learner with a visual representation of physical manipulatives, which can be operated by controlling a computer mouse or using your finger on a touchscreen device. These tools are often used in math classes and provide the student with interactive learning experiences. As you can see on the bottom, here are some different examples of virtual manipulatives that a student can access in order to enhance their mathematical skills. Different manufacturers of virtual manipulatives. There are several websites that provide educators with access to thousands of virtual manipulatives. These websites include DidX, National Library of Virtual Manipulatives, Glencoe Math, Toy Theater, McGraw-Hill, the Math Learning Center, and Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. All teachers can access these websites online. Pricing options. Every virtual manipulative manufacturer stated on the previous slide provides their digital tools for free. As an educator, the use of virtual manipulatives is cost-friendly and efficient. In order to use the virtual manipulatives, an educator just needs to open up the website. Here's an example from DidX where a teacher can access different types of virtual manipulatives. These include 10 frames, number lines, 2 color counters, and several other different types of virtual manipulatives, all for free. Historical antecedents. In the late 1990s, developers suggested the creation of digital and virtual manipulatives. Physical manipulatives were already being used in mathematics for years and helped students succeed academically. The National Library of Virtual Manipulatives was created in 1999. Below is a screenshot directly from the National Library of Virtual Manipulatives website. You can see that there's different types of mathematics topics focused on, and they go from grades pre-K to grades 12. So there's a large range of different manipulatives for students to access. Materials used in the construction of these virtual manipulatives. Well, virtual manipulatives are constructed in a software format. For example, manufacturers operate their virtual manipulatives by using Java or Adobe Flash Player programming. In order for the manipulative to operate, the device has to have Java or Adobe Flash Player software installed. So if a student is using a district-provided computer, iPad, or some type of mobile device, these softwares must be installed in order to use the virtual manipulatives. Availability. Virtual manipulatives are available all the time for an educator to implement. Since there are so many manufacturers, an educator has a broad choice of manipulatives to choose from. Since they are free, they are able to access these tools at any time. So if a teacher chooses that a student would benefit from using a virtual manipulative, all they have to do is open up the website and see which one would best fit their individual needs. How are virtual manipulatives used? Well, the form. Virtual manipulatives are accessed through online software. All digital tools can be accessed through the manufacturer's website. The function of these virtual manipulatives. Students are able to use their mouse or the touchscreen on a device to manipulate virtual objects. These objects allow a student to visualize a mathematical concept. The purpose of them. Virtual manipulatives are interactive, web-based visual representations of objects so that students can construct mathematical knowledge. Here's one example of the usefulness of virtual manipulatives. As you can see, the user is dragging different digits into the hundred thousands, 10,000s, thousands, hundreds, tenths, and ones place. This can be used so that students can visualize the importance of the place values. Here's another example. As you can see, the user is dragging different individual blocks onto the grid. This virtual manipulative can be used to help students visualize perimeter and just visualize different shapes and different ways to construct these shapes. The target populations. The use of virtual manipulatives helps a diverse range of students. These students include students with autism spectrum disorder, students with visual processing disorders, students with intellectual disabilities, and they also assist students with no disability but who need additional mathematical assistance. The large, diverse range of students these tools reach is why they are so beneficial. They will help any student in any academic setting. So as I said, any student can use these virtual manipulatives. This form of assistive technology has been found to be extremely successful for students with autism spectrum disorder. Why? Well, autism spectrum disorder is a neurodevelopmental disorder that impacts how an individual processes information. Students benefit because they are able to interact with the visual representations in order to deepen their understanding of mathematics. The negative aspects of virtual manipulatives. Well, they do have some negative aspects in an academic setting. These include, well, not every student has access to a computer or a mobile device at home. So if a teacher makes the use of these virtual manipulatives mandatory outside the classroom, it not only impacts the equity in the classroom, but it also impacts the cost effectiveness of the virtual manipulatives. If a parent has to go out and purchase a computer or a mobile device, then the point of these tools being free is completely out the window. Technical issues may take up too much time in class, so if an educator does not know how to work with the different virtual manipulatives, it might take up too much class time. The use is very individualized, so a teacher can pick a virtual manipulative based on the mathematical concept that a student is struggling with. So you're meeting the needs of that specific student. You're providing them with a personalized learning environment. So the teacher must do the research beforehand and carefully plan the lesson. This is not a tool that you can just implement without doing any research on. The teacher must know exactly how to use it and how to help students do this. They need to model the proper procedures in order to provide them with a beneficial learning environment. And the last negative aspect is that a student can't actually touch the manipulative. A teacher should just not use only virtual manipulatives. The point of using physical manipulatives is also important, so that they have that ability to touch. But with the virtual ones, they're not actually able to touch it, but they're able to maneuver them on the website, which is beneficial. Connection to evidence-based practices. Even though the use of virtual manipulatives has some negative aspects, the strategy is connected to many evidence-based practices. These practices include, well, an individualized instruction. Students are able to utilize a resource that is chosen based on their specific needs, so they are receiving that personalized learning environment. It also represents a visual representation of relationships, so using this tool allows a student to visualize a mathematical concept. And finally, it reaches the evidence-based practice of plenty of practice. In order to master a concept, students can utilize these manipulatives to practice key ideas. They are able to utilize the tools in order to make an understanding of a mathematical concept. So, an evidence-based practice example for a student with autism spectrum disorder. So if a student with autism spectrum disorder struggles with the concept of multiplication, they can use virtual algebra tiles on an individual basis in order to practice and enhance their thinking skills. You can see an example of this on the right-hand side. Students are being able to display 5 times 4 by just doing 4 blocks and repeating that 5 times. They're able to visualize that 5 times 4 is 20. This example directly meets the evidence-based practice of personalized learning. So every student can have their specific needs met just based on choosing the right virtual manipulative. What is the benefit of these tools? Well, we briefly talked about them already, but they have way more benefits. These benefits include relating to and supporting evidence-based practices. So we see that they directly relate to practices that work in the classroom. They have a positive impact on a student with autism spectrum disorder and their social interactions in the classroom. It provides teachers and parents with an advanced educational practice strategy. So teachers are able to help parents educate their students outside the classroom by using these tools. It enhances a student's motoric skills, so their thinking ability. It establishes a higher level of engagement. And it has a large positive impact on scientific, medical, and academic communities. We can see here with the examples of benefits. The main benefit right here is that it meets the needs of every specific student and it gives them an individualized instruction format. So being able to meet the needs of each specific student can help them excel and progress in the classroom. It also improves their social interactions. So for a student with autism spectrum disorder, this is something that they really struggle with. If students feel more comfortable with the tools they are using in the classroom, they'll feel more encouraged to collaborate with their peers. Making sure parents and teachers are knowledgeable about this type of tool is something that is very beneficial. So if a parent is able to go home and help their student interact with a virtual manipulative, they will see that that success will come in the classroom as well. The use of virtual manipulatives enhances their thinking skills, so they're able to think about mathematics on a deeper level. They also are more involved with their learning process. They want to use the virtual manipulatives. The use of technology in the classroom is something that interests students tremendously. So getting them involved and engaged in their learning process is something that is very beneficial. And finally, this impacts the academic, medical, and scientific communities because they can use the data from these virtual manipulatives in order to establish more and create more programming and softwares in the future. And here are my references. Thank you for listening. I enjoyed talking to you all, and I'm looking forward to a great summer session.